for relaxing times. Make it Suntory time. My kind of lame impression of Mr. Bob Harris from Lost in Translation. Hopefully going to make this a very quick intro. I tried to do this video yesterday and then I found out I went for 12 minutes. So anyway, what's my history? And some of you will know me from the Japanese Whisky Review Blog with the same name. That's my blog. But anyway, my history for those who don't know me, I first went to Japan in 2009, tasted my first Japanese whiskies at the same time. I'd already been drinking Scottish whiskies before that. So I had kind of a base level of taste and opinion about whiskey. Went to a very famous Japanese whiskey bar called Zoe Trip and did a tasting flight of Japanese whiskies. It was 12-year-olds from Nikka and Suntory. Cue the photo because I've actually got a photo from that first tasting. I look pretty happy, and as you can see, I haven't changed much in 14 years. Well done. Genetics. That's what I'm going to call it, genetics. So did the tasting flight, found out, wow, these guys really know what they're doing. So I thought it was going to be a novelty, right? Japanese whiskey, who does what? I didn't know the history, how far back it goes, any of that sort of stuff. But from tasting, it was fabulous to me. Went out and searched around Tokyo to buy Japanese whiskey, and back then it was kind of like a cornucopia of buying stuff. So cue another picture, I'll show you some of the first whiskies that I bought. In fact, let's bring this in here. Okay, that bad boy. In fact, after all these years, it's empty now. I kept the bottle because it's so beautiful, one of those porcelain bottles with beautiful calligraphy and everything else on it, so I've kept that as one of my first ones. But anyway, searched around and bought some Japanese whiskey, bought it home. Got absolutely fanatical about it because it was a novelty, man. I can tell you, barely anyone outside of a few writers, like serious writers on whiskey, were doing Japanese whiskey back then. It wasn't a thing. I was on forums, for instance, about whiskey in general, and no one knew about Japanese whiskey, really. Most of them didn't even know they made it. So this is what happened. From 2009 to now, I saw Japanese whiskey go from zero to hero, literally. So it wasn't a storied tale up until 2009. Well, it just wasn't. People weren't into it. I got into it, and it made it kind of cool. Let's face it, get into something new that no one was doing, it was kind of cool. A few bibs and bobs, and I can tell you there are people out there that don't do a blog or do a YouTube channel that have incredible experience. You'll never hear their names, but a shout out to you guys that I know that I've been in contact with for many, many years. Real pioneers, but they're not out there. But just shouting it out because there are people with even more experience that were traveling to Japan and going to distilleries that are now closed. Anyway, so got into it, and since that period of time, okay, for a couple of years I wrote tasting notes on Japanese whiskey for another blog. Then since 2012 did my own blog. It's still going, so almost 10 years now. Good time to go to another platform, YouTube, and bring my experience of Japanese whiskey to YouTube. So in that period of time I have tasted, now let me see, it's over 550 Japanese whiskies, which is fine. There are whiskey bloggers out there that have tasted a number of Japanese whiskies. I'm talking outside of Japan, right, that have tasted hundreds of them, but it's usually very small samples that they're given to. I've bought my Japanese whiskey. I've done a few sample swaps with people over the years, not many, but it's a like for like swap. But I'm like you guys, I buy my own stuff. It's probably stupid to do it when you've got a blog, but anyway, I've done that. So all my own stuff, but my own dollars like you guys. So, you know, raise a glass, pour a glass when you're watching the channel, have a good time having a Japanese whiskey. But literally, I've owned hundreds upon hundreds of bottles of Japanese whiskey. Wow, I've drunk hundreds and hundreds of bottles of Japanese whiskey, which adds up to thousands upon thousands of drams of Japanese whiskey. So I've got that experience behind me as well. So get ready for the next video. Just want to let you guys know that. In fact, I'll drop a link to my blog, because that will show you pictures of some of the Japanese whiskey that I've owned. Not all of them, maybe 75% or 80% of what I got, and others that I own with other people even now. So you can do that. You can see my tastings and how I rate stuff, because I do a little thing about how I rate whiskies as far as ratings go. You can check all that. I'll drop the link down below. So next video, I'm going to do a video on Japanese whiskey, real versus fake. It's a hot topic. It's kind of been a hot topic for a couple of years now. And I'm going to do my version or opinion on that. Maybe it's a bit different. It won't be like a breakdown of every single distillery in every single bottle. Literally, I'd have to draw up notes, put it on a computer, and read it out for 5 hours. No one wants to watch that. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of, you know, rebottling, rebranding whiskey in Japan, and then maybe give some advice which is helpful about how to avoid buying fake shit in the store. Anyway, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Japanese Whisky Review. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.